Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be reviewing the 2024 film Twisters. It came out on Friday, July 19th, and so far it's doing pretty well. It has a 74% review rating on Rotten Tomatoes and is averaging a 6.7 out of 10. It says that it's a action suspense thriller. I don't really think it's a suspense or a thriller. I think it's an action movie for sure, and it can be very intense at sometimes, but there's nothing like suspenseful or like scary about this film. But this is a sequel to the 1996 movie Twister. It's directed by Lee Isaac Chung, and he's kind of known for making a movie called Minari. I've personally never heard of that movie. I'm not trying to throw shade. I haven't heard of it. But a little bit of context here. I went to see this movie with my grandma, and we had a great time. It was a fun little movie, fun little activity to do and to spend time with her. Is it worth the price? It depends on what type of person you are. If you are a family person, if you want to take your kids to a nice family movie, this would classify as a family movie you can take your kids to. I mean, there's like a couple cuss words in there. There's like one or two cuss words throughout the movie, so just keep that in mind. But I mean, that's really the worst thing. I mean, it's a fun action movie for, I would say, maybe teens, preteens, or whatever they call them these days. It's a good movie for a family. For an adult, in my opinion, I would never go out. I would never empty my pockets on my own will to go see this movie. It's not doesn't have a very good storyline. It doesn't have like an excellent plot. It's not movie of the year, right? It's not something that you should just go and see. It's kind of like it's a better they did a better version. If you look at Star Wars, right? They created sequels and they were just cash grabs, obviously. I think they tried to do that with this, but it had a better result. What do I mean by that? It is more it's a modern Twister. It's a modern version of the 1996 film Twister. Instead of using really old technology to scan tornadoes, they're using new technology. It's that's if I'm being honest, that's what it is. They're scanning tornadoes still with new technology. And this is going to be a spoiler. Anything after this is a spoiler. I'm not going to give a breakdown of the whole entire movie. I'm going to be honest, man. This movie starts off strong. The first 5 to 10 minutes, 3 people die. 3 people get sucked into a tornado and are never seen again. And later on, people say that later on in the movie, it's announced that they died. It starts off strong. And we talk about Kate. She's a main character. She goes through the trauma of losing her 3 friends, and it's about her getting back into tornado chasing or whatever the hell they call it. That's pretty much what the movie is. I'm gonna be honest. It has a very strong its theme is personal growth and like overcoming trauma. We see that through Kate's character, right? We see her develop. We see her grow past her childhood. I don't even know if it's childhood. It happened to her in college, so I mean, very young still. To see her develop as a woman and see how she handles those same situations differently, and yeah, again, personal growth. Growing through trauma or overcoming trauma is the main theme here. Again, modern version of the Twister. One key thing to add here, it's very informational, so like they'll throw in complex terms. In many movies when like the nerdy guy comes out and he's talking about hacking the firewall or accessing the mainframe and parsing data packets and using all this advanced terminology, they use those like the same advanced terminology, but instead they decipher it through character dialogue. So one person may say something that's very smart, but a side character may come in and say, what does that mean? Or like hint at explaining or hint at asking the main character to explain what they're saying. So it's very informational. I noticed that. It's very informational. They really want you to understand like the key definitions of the weather. The CGI is decent. It really creates the vibe of there being like an actual tornado like there. Oftentimes I kind of believed that whenever a main character was in a tornado, I kind of had that fear that they would die just because Like the director didn't give a let's be honest, he didn't give a shit. He killed 3 people off the rip. So I was kind of always like, that was in the back of my head. You know, when you watch a movie, it's like, oh, the main character isn't gonna die here. Of course, the main character wouldn't die. In this movie, I had that in the back of my mind. Like, would the director actually do that? Right? It kept me thinking, just because he killed those 3 people off rip. But as far as the second half is concerned, it's a lot of action, a lot of tornadoes. You got fire tornadoes, a lot of explosions. Like, overall, the second half, I wouldn't say it makes up for the first half, but it at least matches it, or like it does, like it's like just beneath the first half of the film. But again, to wrap this up here, it's a good movie to go out with your friends, to go out with family. If you're like a couple and it's something nice and enjoyable, like a feel good movie, to watch after you go to eat, this would be the movie for you. Yeah, it's not a bad movie. I personally would not go out of my way to watch this movie. I would not leave my house and spend money on a movie ticket to go see this, just because it's not my type of genre of movie. But that should have no impact on you. If you like action, if you like explosions, if you like tornadoes, this would be the movie for you. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.